Hey, welcome everybody.
Welcome to this week's
Hello, and how is everybody doing on this Sunday? Stephanie, we can highlight your chat. There you go. There you go. And the reason we can is because we have some new producers this week. All right, it's time for Wordle. What do we have seen? Can it be seen now? Oh! Come on! There can that be?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Hey!
Come on.
Well,
Let's go.
You left me alone right there.
I could hear you, but then I looked up. I thought, oh, I'm the one on the camera.
Yep, that's you are.
Yep, that wasn't the intro anymore.
It's a Saturday Night Live or Sunday Night Live with Pastor Troy Gramling.
That it is.
Or just Troy.
You know
one
what? I need an announcer.
Oh.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Live at 7 p.m. The one, the
oh,
only.
no, you got to say, born in Adrian, Michigan, raised in Paragould, Arkansas, now residing
In South Florida, the man, the myth, the legend.
Mr. Two-Time himself,
Come on.
Troy Gramling.
Yay!
It feels weird not to say Pastor Troy Gramling.
What
Yeah.
a big studio audience we have today.
Come on.
Come on now.
We have the important people here.
Exactly.
Amen.
Giselle's back in the house. She wasn't here she was off last week, so she's back in the house for
That she is.
all of those online. We are glad you're here. Thanks for spending some time with us. Our goal is to hang out, have a little fun,
Every now and again.
get to know one another.
Ooh. It's like a date.
It
It's
just-
really the same. We're on a date with all these people in the chat right now.
That's right.
okay.
Yeah, kind of like Mormons,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Except for
exactly.
we don't get married. We just date a bunch of people.
Exactly.
Like, because the thing is dating actually in the Bible?
No,
No.
it's not.
Will made a bold claim. He said that with confidence.
With confidence. He got his mic.
currently
with him. Oh, he's
dating.
got his mic.
Come on. I'm
All
here
right.
with you.
Got his mic. Still don't have the camera, but you know what? I'm wearing, notice my potential. I'm covering today. Got the hat
Oh.
and the shirt.
Yeah.
Man, what a loyalist.
Yes. Speaking of a loyalist, we had a big weekend. You know, they're all big, but we did some additional things that we normally don't do because they normally don't happen. One is we were at the beach. For those of you who might be watching in other parts of the country, we do have a beach. And that's all good until June. Because you know what happens in June?
It's hot.
No,
Hurricane
Okay.
season?
Never mind.
it is hurricane season.
Come on.
See, people forget what hurricane season is from June to.
November. Am I right?
You are right.
I think we had one late this year, though, didn't we?
I don't remember.
I
I
don't
think
think
we had one. I mean, not had one, but like
We heard about
one that
one.
was close in like December.
Well, hurricane season ends November. Since I've lived here, we've never had one in November. The latest we had was on Halloween, right around Halloween.
Yeah.
Katrina?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah?
because it got
Katrina or
cold.
Wilma? I always get confused between the two.
Oh, it was Wilma. You're wrong, Nick.
Dang it.
Dang.
What is living in South Florida, handling hurricanes, what has it taught you?
That's a good question.
Top 5.
It's what?
What
I want a top 5. What
top
are the 5
five.
things that it taught you?
I just want one.
It's taught me insurance deductibles important,
Okay.
and
That's
huh?
that's smart.
It's taught me that there's always water available,
Yes.
And toilet paper.
and that anytime a hurricane gets within 1,000 miles, we're going to run milk and bread.
Speaking of
Not eggs, though.
insurance, I'm curious. I read a story on Reddit today. Okay. And it was a trending story underneath the category AITA, which stands for Am I the Word I Do Not Use? And she was asking, am I this?
Yeah.
Because her and her ex-boyfriend both took out like a life insurance policy deal. And they put each other as the beneficiaries. Well, they broke up. He cheated on her.
Hey.
And he is with another lady who is pregnant. He dies.
Oh.
The money goes to his ex. And she's wondering, am I a bad person for keeping the money?
You want my opinion?
I'm curious.
I wouldn't say, here's the deal. I wouldn't say she's a bad person. I would say if there wasn't any insurance for the other person, was there?
No, it all went to her.
Wow.
He never changed who it went to.
Not for the child. I think it's, unless you're starving to death, I mean, I think you would give it to the child. I mean, at least the majority of it.
Yeah.
Again, unless they were wealthy. I mean, you know what I mean? To me, it would be about need. Like, I don't know if it's about what's the right thing to do. I think if the mom and child need money, then the right thing to do would be to give them the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It does show you. Stay pure until you get married and you don't have these problems.
Because was he not married to either one of them?
Nope.
How'd he die? Did she kill him?
She could have.
Yeah. Just so she could get the
that
insurance.
Exactly.
How much was the insurance?
I don't know. Story didn't say. She probably knows. It makes her sound worse if it's a lot of money.
Yeah. Wow.
What do you think? I think she should give it. I think whoever whoever needs it for the most, and the child is probably going to. I mean, there's very few wealthy people in this world, so I would think the child.
Yeah.
I would put it. I would put it in the child's name, maybe
Yeah.
like a trust or something.
When they turn 18, they can use it.
Yeah, I do agree that, I mean, the other girl, he's just dating. They have a kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right. I think that's ultimately, that's the only true family he has out of all three of these people.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the kid.
Maybe give it to the grandparents to take care of the child.
Yeah, maybe.
His mom and dad.
Yeah.
If
they still had a good relationship.
Yeah. We need more information.
You want to call her?
You know what we could do? We could have like
She didn't leave her number.
Judge, like judge jury.
Judge Troy.
That's
Hey.
it. That's it. We could have people come and it could
I
be
love
like
it.
be like Moses.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. Or like Solomon.
Out.
Cut him in half.
Out with the person. Out with the person. Anyways, you dropped your coffee that you so badly wanted.
Gosh, I just burned my whole life away.
Wow. You know what? That's a good lid though, because it
We
didn't
will
spill.
see you guys after this short break.
Yes. Yes. Hey, so we did have a interesting weekend. It started out at early. What time did you guys get to the beach?
5 a.m.
5 a.m.
Yeah.
You got there at 5?
Like 5:05 maybe.
Okay, so you got there at 5 because they had a march for cancer.
Yeah.
Seema and Tommy, they put that on every year down at the beach. It's a 5K like walk run.
Correct. He's a cancer survivor.
Cancer survivor, and that was there was a lot of people there. He said somewhere between 700 and 1,000 registered runners.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of energy. And you guys just were hanging out, inviting people to Easter, loving on people, encouraging people. And you had a putt-putt. Like if you gave away a energy drink.
Yes. Yep.
If they made it.
We only invited people who could make the shot.
Yes.
The other ones don't
Amen.
deserve
The other ones, only the ones
We
made
only
it.
need winners.
But who did make it?
I don't remember. Do
Me
you?
either.
I remember. Because I made it.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I did make it. You don't remember it?
No, I remember I made it.
You didn't make it. I made. Will, were you that? You weren't there, were you? Will?
I was
No,
not.
he was sleeping.
No one was not.
At 5 a.m.
You
were
were up?
sleeping.
Okay, at 5 a.m. I've not
Exactly.
been sleeping.
Told you.
But anyways, it went really, really well.
Yeah.
And hey, if you were in the chat, have you ever been to like a march for cancer or a what's the other one that where you walk around the track? But anyways, there's a lot of different events that they have to find a cure for cancer. They had a shirt black, like this little brand. It's got cancer with a line through it. And I got one, and I wore it to the next event we had, and actually wore it the rest of the day. And it's amazing how many people have been impacted by cancer, because I got over and over again, people would mention something about my shirt.
Oh, wow.
And I never, any other shirt I wear, they never mention anything about, but like, oh, good shirt, So that just tells you how many people have been impacted by
Cancer. Yeah.
the disease. So hopefully they'll find a cure. Didn't Biden say he was going to find a cure?
I'm sure he
Didn't he say that in a speech? Does anybody remember?
No.
I don't.
If we had good producers, they would show that clip right now.
Well, one of your producers is cleaning up from the burn marks.
But we do have pictures of the next event. So let's show a few of those pictures, and I'm going to tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is the first picture.
A lot of people there.
Yeah.
Got a little cheerleading team.
Yeah, can you tell what we're in front of?
The float.
A float.
Well, that's because you can't tell.
No,
from
I
that
can
picture.
tell.
Okay.
It's like a classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do you have another picture?
I do. Next picture is.
Oh, that's the Academy cheerleaders right there.
Yep, in front of another unidentified object.
Yes.
Let's call it UFO.
Which happens to be a float.
Yeah.
We were in the Cooper City Founders Day parade.
And it's been happening for the past 66 years.
66 years.
Yeah.
And our float won first place.
Wow. Come on.
First year in it. Now, as great as it is, we won. Don't want to offend any other float people out there, but
Dang, they were trash.
There wasn't a lot of competition, and I found out why. Like O'Dallas and her team did a great job, but it's a water fight. That's all it is. It's a water fight. I've never seen adults involved in a water. I mean, not just like family adults. I'm talking about 1,000 adults. The kids were throwing water. All along on both sides, they had water balloons, they had water hoses, they had water guns. And then a lot of the floats were just to shoot water on the crowd.
Oh, wow.
And so Dallas ran in front of, because ours wasn't made waterproof. Right? It was Saved by the Bell, and it has printed material and all of that. Steph and I were like driving in a 90s, because the theme was 90s. So that's why we did Saved by the Bell. We were in like a 90s Corvette. It was driven by a 90s truck. I mean, we went all 90s.
Yeah.
But we were not prepared for a water fight. I will say that.
They didn't brief you guys on that?
They did not brief us on that. It's so funny because Steph and I were in front of the float, and you started kind of going around a corner, and I saw not the guys right in front of us, but the ones in front of them, and I seen a bunch of guys run up and throw water balloons.
Oh, God.
And I look at Steph and I said, they're going to get in trouble. Because, I just thought it was some teenagers that thought it'd be fun to throw water balloons. And little did I realize that they didn't get in trouble.
How long was how long were you guys going around for?
Probably took, 30 minutes?
Yeah, pretty short. Like a mile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over there by the golf course, I believe.
Yeah.
It seemed like a long time. I'm just going to tell you that.
Cooper Colony.
And here's the thing. I got something to say. Huh?
You were driving. We were walking.
I know. Okay.
You were sitting down the whole time.
Look. Sounds just like Stephanie. I was driving in front. So I'm driving this old Corvette, right? And O'Dallas would come up and say, hey, you need to slow down. Don't get so far in front of the truck. We got walkers behind us, right? So I would slow down. And then the people over the float would come to me and they would tell me to
Speed up.
Speed up. And then Steph would give me instruction. I'm going 2 miles an hour. And Steph's telling me that I'm waving too far to the left or too far to the right. 2 miles an hour. I mean, what's the worst that could have happened at 2 miles an hour?
Run over a family.
But she felt important.
Slowly.
Very slowly.
I think I could have found the
To
brakes.
be honest, if you get run over at 2 miles an hour, I mean, some of that is on you.
Not only can you feel the hit, but you could walk away in the middle of the hit, being hit at 2 miles an hour.
100%.
We did win.
going on.
So, hey,
That's all we do.
if you-
Winners only.
Win,
That's right.
win,
Hey, if
win.
you want to be a part of a winning team, come to Potential Church.
Come on.
Come on.
Join us here on the Troy Gramling podcast.
Let's go.
And
This is
SNL.
the live show.
I know. You didn't let me get there. You're just like your mother. Anyways, it was incredible. We had.
That's a good thing. I'll take
How
that
was
as
the
a compliment.
weekend, Will? How was the Spanish service?
Spanish service, it happened. It was really good.
Banging. There were Spanish people.
Yep. We start. What was that? Third week.
This was the third week.
Third week. Now the challenge, for those of you who don't go to church or don't know about church, this was a time change, and it wasn't the good time change.
No.
This
No,
is the
it was
good.
not.
This is the good time.
Yeah. It's just the bad time change.
Correct.
Well, I like the other time better.
Yeah,
we
you're
know.
the minute.
Did you see what the? No, I'm not.
You are.
No, I'm not.
You are.
Did you see what the president said? They asked him.
What did he say?
They asked Brother Trump.
That's amazing.
They
Brother
asked.
Trump.
They asked the president about when's he going to do it? When are you going to make it? And he said, "I can't. I can't. What do you call it? Like pretend to be him." But he's like
Impersonate him?
Yeah, I can't impersonate. He says it's a 50-50. He said some people don't like it. They want the sun to stay up longer, and other people don't want to take their kids to school in the dark. So I don't know if he's going to make a decision on it, which I hope he doesn't, because I like it.
Weird.
I hate it.
No, they don't. Not everybody. Did you not hear the
No, you're
president?
right.
It's a 50-50.
Okay, Carson, producer, pull out the
Oh, pull up the stats.
Pull
up the stats.
because we know our president.
Yes. Our if it wasn't 50-50, he would make the decision. He doesn't care, according to him. He just, I guess it doesn't want to make half the people mad.
I don't know about this. I think that old people like it. Old people want their nighttime.
Yeah, they do.
No, it's got nothing to do with being
It
old.
does.
No,
you want
it
it to be
doesn't.
dark. You want
I
your
have
warm
never.
milk
I
and your
have
newspaper.
Say that again.
You want your warm milk and your newspaper.
Your nighttime, your warm milk, and your newspaper.
I will say this: old people who go to bed early probably like it, but I'm not an early to bed person, and I'm not an old person.
62% of Americans want to stop changing clocks.
And who? Okay, stop changing it. Let's just keep it like it was.
That's not what it says.
What? What's
That's
it
not what
say?
it says. It says 62% of Americans want to stop changing clocks.
Okay, right. I'm fine with that. Leave it like it was.
No, like it was, it's like it is now.
No, that's not what it says. How in the chat? Which do you guys like? What? Because I don't know what they're called. I call one it gets dark early and one it gets dark late.
And that's the title I have for him as well.
50% of people say they want later sunrises and sunsets. 31% say they want earlier sunrises and sunsets. 12% have no preference. 7% are not sure. There's a lot to think about. Let me analyze it. Let me pray on it. Let me fast, and then I can make my decision.
If you can't make a decision on that, because in reality you're
that 7% should not be able to vote.
Not at all.
because your opinion's not going to matter. So choose
I just
one.
love that they were asked. I got to think about this. Yeah, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
I'm pretty passionate.
So 50% over 31%.
You know what? Christmas the holidays wouldn't be the same if it was late.
I literally think that's
What?
cannot be further from the truth.
It is.
No.
It's like Christmas is more challenging in the warm places as opposed to the cold places.
That doesn't go with your own video that you made when you went to Alaska and they talked about how depressing it is because it's always dark.
Always
You
dark.
played your own video.
Always dark. What do y'all think?
There's a
Spring forward.
forward. Yep.
It-
Sorry, Pastor.
It gets dark late.
It's
Is the way to go.
It gets dark later. Matthew Fernandez.
More light.
Come on, somebody. Just pick one, Odalis says. That's what I'm saying. Just pick the one where it stays dark, gets dark earlier.
Who said that?
But you know what? I like. You know what? I like the darkness. I'm like a vampire.
You embrace the depression that it brings others.
No, I don't think of it as depression. I think of darkness as when basketball games start. Darkness, all the fun stuff in my life happens in the darkness.
Most parents tell their kids nothing good happens in the dark.
Yeah. No.
You're saying only good things can happen in the dark. Interesting.
See, yeah, Gabby, you're completely almost right. 8 o'clock.
That's when he's drinking his warm
At 8
milk.
o'clock.
He's nestled in bed.
No, I'm not.
That's what's crazy. You don't go. It would make sense if you went to bed early. Like Pastor Matt. If Pastor Matt liked it, I would understand. He goes to bed early. He wants it to be dark when he goes to bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't go to bed till 1 a.m. So why do you want it
It's
dark?
gotta be dark
for
either
so
way.
long?
Because I like darkness. The best thing, I like it dark when I get up in the morning. Like I like going to the gym in the
So
darkness.
you prefer just no light?
Yeah, I could live in Alaska. I like it dark when I go to the gym. I like it dark when I get out of the gym. I like it dark.
But you can have that now with this time.
Open up the windows. Let the light in.
Amen.
Oh, see, Chris says he likes it dark, but he also says he's old.
Yeah.
You're not old, Chris.
He's drinking that warm milk right alongside
No.
of you. It's been 25 minutes. We have yet to get to a single.
People who like no, because we're talking about something that's really important.
You're right.
He's got an opinion on
People
this.
who
we can
have
make clips on this.
a nightlife like it dark.
Oh, nightlife. Whoa.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I don't
saying?
have a nightlife.
Right.
Right.
Actually, I disagree. My nightlife involves events that we do within the church. Always better to have light. You don't have to pay for lights hours. That's thousands of dollars cut off.
Amen.
And I don't know about you. I guess not. But for me, I love saving the money from our generous donors.
Amen.
Good save.
But I guess you're just saying spend,
No, I
baby,
say-
spend.
Drill, baby, drill.
I'm saving money on air conditioning. It's dark. All right. It's time to move on.
It is. It's time for, you have a coffee there, but it's close enough.
It's time for tea with me. All right, it's time for discussions.
Tea with PT.
And you have Mr. Rogan.
I do. I do.
Mr. Rogan.
Absolutely.
Man, the
So let me pull
You know,
this
he's
clip
got
up.
good producers.
He's got
got
a
one.
producer who's really good. I want to go ahead and set the standard. We will never be as good as he is. Never.
Well, he's got a lot.
Well,
What did he get? A $10
aspire
million
to be as good as-
contract or something like that?
Yeah.
$100 million.
Tell you what, you know what?
Yeah.
You're right. I lied to you. Give me that contract,
And I'll be that good.
I will be incredible. All right. This is what Joe Rogan and the great Mel Gibson had to say.
The great Mel Gibson.
Had to say on his podcast.
You know, I mean, just recently they verified the Shroud of Turin. Have you seen that?
I've been reading about it, and I know that there's some contention, there's some discussion and debate about it. But they used to think that it was only a couple hundred years old.
Yeah.
And now they've changed that.
Yeah, they said no, it's back then.
They also don't understand how it was
Mel
made,
Gibson
which
seems
to me is
very confident of it, doesn't he?
paint.
Yeah.
It's not. They don't know what caused the image itself and how that
Just be sure and stop
technology
it.
would have even been
Yeah, I
available
gotcha.
It wasn't. No.
a couple thousand years ago.
An intense light. I mean, atomic. To leave almost like a photographic imprint on a piece of cloth.
Yeah.
And
It's wild. Pull that up. Pull the Shroud of Turin up.
So they're talking about the Shroud of Turin.
Okay.
Oh, I was looking for a. I didn't know if you know.
Oh, you're looking to me
how
for
it's pronounced.
You're looking to me for pronunciation.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so they're talking about the Shroud of Turin as kind of a point of reference when it comes to Christianity. This is what the Shroud of Turin is. And Italian scientists are claiming that it dates back to the time of Jesus. Now, from my understanding, this might have been the cloth that Jesus was wrapped in.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
They say that the resurrection is what made the
Imprint.
Yeah, the imprint
Photograph.
on there. We were listening to a guy earlier who was talking about how, if radiation created that. He said, and this was a Christian PhD, but he said several books on it, but he's like 80% that it's real.
Wow.
So let me ask you this. What difference does it make if it's real?
I'll tell you exactly what difference it makes.
Okay, Mel.
There's a
Okay, Mel.
hold on. There's something in here that tells us. I got to zoom in a little more. I can't fully see it. There is something in here. I wish I could find it, but I promise y'all can look up this story. Oh, I don't know what those other stories are. Okay, the cloth has around 5 feet and 7 inches tall, meaning that tall people, if this is truly Jesus, he was 5'7".
Come on.
So tall
Short
people
king.
are from the devil. Is what I
would
I
you-
see.
You're tall to Jesus.
Yeah, but I'm not tall by society.
Hey, man. You're tall to Jesus. I think that's all that
I'm
matters.
not as good as Jesus. I never claimed to be that good. Y'all are a long ways away.
Oh, me. He said 80%.
80%. 80%. That's pretty
It's been around for a long time. I mean, I don't mean the
But like it was found.
right.
a while
And
ago.
there's been lots of tests on it, and all these years they've yet, I think more than to prove it's real, they haven't been able to prove that it's not. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I asked, does it matter? I guess other than height, okay, is also the gentleman said that when he did a study on this, they took it to medical doctors, and the majority of medical doctors, of course, you can tell the guy was crucified, but he died by suffocating.
Yeah, no, it does say that in this article that there's actually stains that would line up with.
The placement. I think it was on that last paragraph. It says the placement of the stains on the straw.
Yes. Consistent with severe injuries, including puncture wounds to the scalp, whip marks, and deep nail wounds through the wrists and feet.
Right. But the way they would die on crucifixion is
Suffocate.
They'd suffocate,
yeah,
right?
Their
They had to-
body resting.
Yeah, they had to
underneath.
push themselves up on the nails to be able to
Right.
breathe.
And I guess eventually they'd get too tired to do so, and then that's where they would suffocate.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I think it's one of those things that I'm not sure it changes anybody's mind who's not a believer. There's a story in the Bible where there's a story of the rich man and a man by the name of Lazarus. Mm-hmm. And the rich man is, hey, God, let me go back and tell my brothers. And Jesus makes an interesting statement. He says that, they have Moses and the prophets. In other words, they have the scripture. They have the proclaimers. They wouldn't believe even if someone were to rise from the dead.
Yeah.
So if somebody, if rising from the dead doesn't convince you,
Yeah.
then I think, the shroud. Now, what I think it could do is it can be inspiring to those who already believe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because faith is, our faith in God is not jumping off a cliff. It's not like there's not any evidences. There's multiple evidences. And as you put those evidences together, right, those evidences reinforce your faith, especially during seasons of doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as someone who works with young people, I would also say that the benefit of something like this is, a lot of society is saying that it is kind of stupid. Like it's not the intellectual who believe in Jesus. And I think things like this can show that that's not true.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it can cause you to say, but I think if you, like I said, when it's so many times we choose not to believe we don't believe because we choose not to believe.
Correct.
Romans 1 even talks about that idea, but it's encouraging, right?
Absolutely.
To see something like that and to think, and to just think it's possible. I know when we went to Israel, you know what I mean? And you go to, there's 2 different places that they say could be the tomb. And you know, and you go to the upper room and you go to these places and you think, man, you know, these things really happened and they really happened here.
Right.
Which I think is, you know, it's interesting. They've never I've not got when I've been to Israel twice and I've not, it wasn't like, I didn't get a feel, you know what I mean? Like some people talk about it, the hair on their neck and all of that. But it's just, to me, again, it's just encouraging of what you already believe.
Yeah.
You know? And
Absolutely.
that kind of thing. So I think, you know, and then Mel Gibson's interesting. You know, it cost him a lot, according to him. You know, he did the crucifixion movie that was
Passion of the Christ.
it was rated R, I think.
He talks about it on that podcast. Yeah.
You know, I went and saw that movie. I took a group of pastors from Paragould, Arkansas, who really hadn't traveled that much, to Cuba. There were about 10 of us. We went to Cuba and did ministry over there in Cuba. And then when we came back, that movie came out. So I took them all to go see the movie, The Passion of Christ. And it's a hard movie to watch.
It is.
You know, it's hard to see what Jesus actually went through, you know, and he didn't have to.
My the biggest thing that sticks out for me in that movie, like the thing I remember, because I was young when it came out, but I do remember watching it. And the thing that stuck out the most was Satan, like the enemy in that movie, because they cast a woman to play Satan, but dressed in a way, like if you haven't seen the movie, that sounds crazy. Like it wasn't obvious it was a woman, but just had very, I just remember it scared me to death. Scared me to death.
It's supposed to scare you to heaven.
Well, death leading to heaven, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it was, but anyways, it cost him a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like he's, I think, Catholic, and anyways, and interesting. I've noticed on Joe Rogan, he's got a lot of Christian people on lately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they tell us that Bible sales are up, you know, that something is, it's kind of interesting time because you have all that happening kind of in this, but then you also have the Andrew Tate stuff happening, which, you know, it's kind of dividing the conservative world, I guess, because you have some conservative people who are, you know, and then other people who, of course, I mean, I can't imagine how you'd think he was a good in any way, but anyways, that's another subject.
That it is.
That is.
That it is. That's what we talked about last time.
Yeah.
Matthew Fernandez says that he's making a part 2 now. Passion of the Christ, part 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I guess Rome,
what happened?
Rome tried to get him again.
Right. Was the resurrection in the first one, or did it end at the cross?
No. Resurrection happened in the movie.
So, Matthew, what's happening in the...
I assume it's got to be following the disciples.
Or maybe
Like
it's
the
a
start of
prelude.
the church?
Maybe it's a prelude.
I mean, the first one starts at the beginning.
Well, maybe it starts at
I
creation.
think you see his ministry. Oh, like
I don't know. How do you make it part
that's quite
two?
a prelude.
How do you make it part
Maybe
two?
it's when he comes back again.
Well, yeah, so, okay.
It would be interesting. You know, a lot of the Bible TV shows and whatnot are leading up to Jesus. Like they start before, lead up to Jesus. It'd be interesting to see one post Jesus. Like the start of the
Right.
church. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Some of the, well, you know, I mean, the Bible's filled with great stories.
It's called the resurrection of Christ.
So it's going to focus on the resurrection. Probably slow down, you know, the disciples in the room and all the fear and the Jesus walking with the road to Emmaus. And
I said that it shows the resurrection in the first one. I'm not 100% positive. It would be a kind of a dark way to end of a movie, though, just to not show the best part of that.
Yeah.
But maybe he did.
it may have just given a quick, I can't remember.
I can't
either.
remember either.
It's been. I saw it the one time when it came out years ago.
Somebody in the chat might remember. Well, it's a hard movie to watch. I mean, it's Jesus, and you're
it's
thinking,
not one you typically are like, oh, let's pop some popcorn.
because you know
and-
it's real.
No.
It's like watching a documentary like on North Korea or something, and you're like, or like the 70 Christians who got murdered, you know, and you're like, this is real. It's not a movie. And that's, you know, to me, when I watch those kind of things, I feel so blessed,
Yeah.
you know, because I mean, I just, happened to be born in this country. You know what I mean? With the freedom, and I'm not worried about losing my head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, doesn't mean that life is always easy, but in North Korea, it's, you know, and some of those places in the Middle East where they're, you know, hiding for their faith, you know, thinking about that, a lot of Muslims, it's funny how God, Romans talks about how, because people always say, well, what about folks who live, you know, in parts of the world where the gospel hasn't gotten to? And, you know, it talks about how God continues to reveal himself as we respond to it. That's why I think it's so dangerous when we say no, because, you know, we think of that as God showing himself towards salvation, but think about how that plays out in all areas of our life, right? Because we're always like, God, am I supposed to marry this person? God, am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? And it's like, well, am I being obedient? But I think as we're obedient to what he shows us, God reveals himself in different ways. And in the Muslim world, you hear a lot of times about people in their dreams or experiencing the kinds of miracles that we don't see maybe as often here in the United States, but that God revealing himself in that way to them for them to experience Christ.
Yeah.
Because they're responding. You know what I mean? Because I've heard a million atheists, you know, if God really wants me to believe in him, he needs to move this cup, or because if he did, I would. And that's where I think the scripture's like, no, you wouldn't. Right? That if whether this shroud is real or whether someone rose from the dead, but if you're responding to what he is showing you, he continues to show you things.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's how much he loves us. So take the step that's in front of you, right?
Amen. I've got one more story, super short, but I know you went through a season of being interested by the sport of cricket. They just had their ICC International Cricket Championship. I'm assuming that's what ICC stands for. And
he's on waiting to the final.
The highlights.
Straight up. That'll be caught and bowled. This game is not over yet, folks.
Who's playing?
India and New Zealand.
And that's gone away into the fence.
India.
It's the Champions Trophy for India.
Wow.
They win it after 12 years. And it's another ICC tournament going.
Wow, that's a lot of people. That's more than the World Series.
That
was a lot of people.
Do you think, why do you think cricket is more popular than baseball in that part of the world?
Yes.
I know it is, but I'm saying, why do you think it is?
I know nothing about cricket.
Yeah,
I don't know how the
anything
game's
about cricket.
played. I don't know.
You can hit it anywhere. You can hit it behind you.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That seems hard to do.
And I don't know all the rules, but occasionally I'll watch highlights, and it's like if it hits the pole, you're out or you're bad, and you get so many outs, you know. And anyways, but you can hit it anywhere.
Do you run bases, or how does that work?
There's two poles and I don't know. I don't know. It's like I've seen this though. I've seen where they're running the poles, and if they throw the ball and it hits the pole, like you're out.
Wow.
Out. That's the way official. That's the way umpires. People think it's like that. You're out of there. No.
I know cricket. There's been a couple people who have died from getting hit with that ball. That ball comes in hot.
Yeah, if they hit it, but they ought to be able to hit it with that big old paddle.
Yeah.
We use a little tiny bat. There's a giant paddle.
Yeah.
And it's bouncing.
Yeah.
And it is. It's slowing down.
It's funny how like cricket, rugby, soccer, none of those are real big over here in North America.
No, I think soccer.
USA.
I do have a theory that soccer would be bigger here in the States if they just shrunk the field. If it was a smaller field,
we do
and
have
you
indoor
had more shots
indoor
on
soccer.
goal. I know, but I mean, like if the
real soccer
that people can see on TV,
You mean
not
the
on ESPN
football.
6 at 1:30 in the morning, but regular soccer. I think if they shrunk the field, for the States, I'm sure people wouldn't like it in every other country that they watch it. But
The real people.
the real soccer fans, but I think it'd be more popular in the States. It would speed the game up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more. That's what I think is, that's why hockey's
So you think
better.
I think cricket's a quicker game than baseball. So you'd think we'd like cricket.
Yeah,
but
baseball's
I don't
an
know
interesting one. That's
America's
where my whole
pastime.
theory of shortening the field to speed up the game goes out the window because baseball is slow.
But they've tried. They got a pitching clock now. and-
The games are quicker now.
Yes. Yes. You know, we in all the sports, you know, we're just kind of like, hey, if we don't invent it, we're not going to play it. Because we invented baseball, we invented football, and we invented basketball.
Hockey?
No, I don't know where hockey.
I figured that
Canadians,
started
right,
out.
or
I don't know if
Russia?
it's Canada. I think it was like
Russia?
Switzerland or something.
Canada?
Canadian.
Canadian. I don't know. I don't like
You mean
them.
the 51st state?
Amen.
Come on.
Or is that Greenland?
Both and.
All right, guys. Hey, we're about out of time.
Already.
What a quick time. So, do we have time for what we got to?
We have
Yeah,
to.
we have to.
And not only do we have to make time, the reason we have to make time is because we posted a short this past week, and the clip of us playing Wordle has over 7,000 views.
Yeah.
That's it.
It blew up.
Wordle's a popular game.
People
That
were
it
trying
is.
to guess what the word was in the comments as well.
Oh, Dallas said, did you know pillow fighting is an actual sport?
I've seen some highlights of that. It is interesting.
Is that men pillow fighting?
That's what I saw.
Okay. I just,
Thoughts?
You know, one sport that shouldn't blow up, but is the slap fighting.
Power slap.
Yeah. Where they just
oh my
slap
gosh,
each
I
other
have seen. Have you
and
guys
knock
seen
each
on
other
the
out.
chat? Have you all seen power shopping?
Power slapping. Power shopping. I'm sure America would be behind that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Power shopping. That's it. Groceries. I've seen that on a game show where they race
Grocery
into the
shop?
grocery store.
They power shop.
And they can't do it anymore because eggs are so expensive.
Was that a joke?
No show would be able to give enough money for them to actually shop.
We're going to start receiving eggs during the offering.
Ooh.
Come on.
And then reselling them.
Oh.
during the
Eggs
week.
in
We're going to
Bitcoin.
open an egg. We're going to open an egg shop
Look.
in the lobby.
Egg stand.
Egg stand. Get your eggs here. Ostrich eggs. Have you ever had an ostrich egg?
I have not.
How about a
Duck egg?
no
Chicken.
quail?
Quail
The
egg?
little
No.
ones.
No.
I don't think so.
Anybody in the chat? Are they?
Hey, oh.
Greg with the subscription.
What's good?
It's good to have you, Greg. All right, let's do this thing.
I think I hear a vacuum. I thought that was music for a second. I was like, I thought I turned that
We
off.
need a five-letter
Five-letter
word.
Has it always been 6 chances?
I've had quail egg.
Or are they making it easier?
You've had what?
Quail egg.
Have you? Are they good?
Yep. Very good.
Giselle says
Quail
they're
is
good.
a 5-letter word. Just throwing
All
it
right,
out.
let's
Oh.
do it.
Do it.
Terrible.
It's a terrible guess.
Has that ever happened before?
Yes.
Well, you, A, and I
I'm not there.
are not in there. So,
So
all right, that
E-O-U.
does knock out
Or
some,
E-O.
some vowels.
Oh.
Sport from Carly Garcia.
Sport.
All right.
Old sport.
A little old sport.
Oh, gosh. We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
No. We got this. We got this. All right, so E has to be that vowel.
Because all words need to have a vowel.
All right, speaking of baseball, what about refs? Or no, that's one F, right? Not two Fs?
That's one F.
All right, never mind.
Baseball doesn't have refs anyways.
Umpires.
Yeah, you're right. They have umpires.
Nick the sports guy.
I think only boxing has referees.
Well, in football,
Football
too.
has refs.
Yeah.
Are they called referees?
Yeah.
I know they have an umpire and a lines judge.
They have referees.
What does the umpire do in football?
I'm not sure about that.
That's fine. You don't have to be. I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all give us a word. I'm going to look that up.
In soccer,
It needs to have
What
an R, but in a
are-
different place.
Football officials.
called.
Doesn't have an S.
Hedge.
Okay,
Gotta
so
have an R.
they're
We need an
but
R.
they have umpire, down judge, formerly head linesman, line judge, back judge, side judge, and field judge,
They have refs.
and a referee.
Yeah. Exactly.
But they have all those other ones too.
I didn't say they didn't. I
What
just
does
said
the
they do have refs.
What does the umpire do?
Hey, we're trying to do Wordle here. Don't sidetrack me. Hedge.
Can't
Needs
be
to have
hedge.
an R.
Needs to have an R. Carly's always throwing out words that don't work.
I know. Come on, babe.
What's a
Making
oof?
you look bad.
Do
Apple?
better. I already made myself look
Needs
bad.
an A. Sport. We need some help there, chat.
Something with an R.
Roast.
Ready?
No, not roast.
ready.
Really?
No, R-E-A. No, A.
Re-
How about two E's?
Rest.
Reads.
Reads? Yeah.
Repo.
Is that a word?
No.
All right, just making sure. Just checking.
Hedge.
Rude is 4 letters, Carly.
How about hedge? It's hedge. H-E.
It's got to have an R.
Yeah.
Oh.
You said what, Gabby? Green.
Green.
G-R-E-E-N.
Or breed.
Breed.
From Danny Fernandez.
Both of those could work, I think.
Well,
Let's start with green.
Greed.
Greed.
So it's either green.
Wow.
Let's go.
Way to go, Gabby. You pulled us out. Wow.
That's wild.
Such an ugly word.
Greed.
Who thought of it? Who gave us greed?
New York Times. Oh, Gabby.
I just wondered who would be thinking of greed. I think of
Greet.
give.
Or greet.
Amen.
Generosity. Yes. Thank you, Will.
No problem.
That's not 5 letters.
I have
though.
all these thoughts going through my mind. But anyways, we want to wrap this up with a really quick soul session thought. All right. Thanks so much. I wanted, a lot of times we talk about leadership and that kind of thing, but I just wanted to say a word of encouragement today. There are 2 stories. They're back to back. They're found in the earliest gospel, which happens to be the Gospel of Mark. And almost 2 different stories, the same statement is made. One's about a dad. His son's going through a hard time, and nobody can help him other than Jesus. And the dad comes up to Jesus and he's like, hey, can you help me? Well, let me just read to you what he says. He says, have mercy on us and help us. And then here's what he says, if you can. And I just wonder how many times you think of that, or I think of that, if you can, right? If you can. Maybe we use the word, if you will. Maybe I wonder, do we start out with, we're praying and we're asking God to do something, and it starts out with, if you will, right? If you will, we know God can, is this his will? And then if it doesn't go the way we want it, we move maybe to more doubt, where we're like, if you can. You know what I mean? Doubt kind of enters in, and it's like, why wouldn't he? In our own minds, why wouldn't God do what I'm asking? And he hasn't done it. So then we say, but he asks, if you can. And this is what Jesus says. He immediately says, what do you mean if I can? And I think it's interesting, Jesus kind of calls him out.
Yeah.
Like that, like if I'm talking to you and there's something I can do, and you say, hey, if you can help me, bring me that coffee, right? I wouldn't normally call that out.
Yes, I can.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Here you go,
Yeah.
And it's funny, Jesus doesn't overlook that. And he says, what do you mean, if I can?
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's because we all have that if you will or if you can mindset. And Jesus says, whoa, wait a minute. No, it's not if I can. He says, anything is possible if a person believes. And so anything is possible. And I think that's at different times in our lives, that takes greater belief than at other times in our lives. And my word of encouragement is just to remind you that no matter what it is that you're facing, he can. And sometimes we just have to remind ourselves that he can heal the sick. He can hear our prayers. He can impact our situation.
Amen.
He can. And then in the very next chapter, this time it's kind of dealing with who they thought was a good person, or the way they thought you would get to heaven. And they thought, hey, if somebody's wealthy and they're doing well, then they must be on God's good side. Because if you weren't, why would you be wealthy? And there's this rich dude, and Jesus says this. He says, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich person to get into heaven. And the disciples are all like, oh my gosh, that blows them away, because it's not what they always thought. They thought, this idea of wealth meant, that you were doing what's right, and therefore, and Jesus is like, no, anytime we succeed, our success can get in the way of needing God.
Yeah.
And then Jesus, again, he says the same thing, but in this different context. So they say, well, who can have eternal life, right? Who can experience God's miracle in their life? And again, Jesus says, well, just so you know, humanly, it's impossible. And then he says, but with God, everything is possible, right? He says, humanly speaking, it's impossible, but not with God. Everything is possible with God. And again, I just wanted to remind us on this day that anything and everything is possible, and continue to believe that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
Yeah.
And to keep believing and keep pursuing and keep moving forward, no matter what's happened today, right? In both of these situations, the situation wasn't a good situation, and we all go through those challenging situations. But never forget, it's not if, right? He can all things. And that includes whatever you and I might be dealing with in the moment. All things are possible with him if we continue to believe, right? Because what does belief do? And it's important. Belief causes us to continue to move towards the destiny or the dream, right? The moment we stop believing, we surrender. We're no longer moving forward. So it's not, if you believe, like you got to sit down and go, I believe, forcing yourself to have some kind of feeling on the inside. I think what belief does, it continues to move you forward. They even asked, the disciples even asked Jesus about the boy he was trying to heal. And they're like, how does this, why couldn't we do it? And he said, well, it takes prayer. In other words, you got to keep believing. You got to keep moving forward. So rather than will yourself to feel something, because that's what we tend to think of when we think about spiritual things, or we think about faith, we tend to think, just got to feel it, right? So if I can play the right song, if I can read the right verse that makes me feel something, if I'm not feeling it, then I'm not believing it. And if I'm not believing it, it's not going to happen. And I think what Jesus is saying is belief demands action. It's what he told the Israelites when they were at the Red Sea, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to die by the hand of the Egyptians. And they started saying, oh, we should have never tried it. Probably what all of us have said. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have went there. I shouldn't have. And Moses goes to God and says, God, what's up? And God says, I don't know why you're coming to me. You need to tell the folks to get going. In other words, to keep believing that even though in front of them is a Red Sea and behind them is an army, keep believing. Yeah. All things are possible. And so no matter what you're facing today, all things are possible. God kills giants. He heals the sick. And he loved us so much that he gave his own life. We'll see you next time. Not only here on SNL. If you haven't already, leave a comment, hit the thumbs up, and the bell, so that you know when we go live. We actually went live at the on our Instagram channel, because we're on Instagram and all of them under Troy Gramling. We went live while we were at the Run for Cancer. So share it. Hey, if you heard something that encouraged you, be sure and share it. Check out the podcast every Thursday at 8. And next Sunday, guess what? will be right here once again. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. God bless.